Guess how much X Bitcoin is up? 6.5 million X from a penny. It's the highest performing asset class that's ever existed in the history of the world. Cryptocurrency, and Hex in particular, allows you to become the bank, you to become the Fed. You mint your own rewards just like a Bitcoin miner. Where does the government's money come from? They print it out of thin air. You are better off figuring this out than doing anything else you're doing in your entire life.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. This is our live AMA, and my name is AJ. I am the team lead here, starting it off with a throwback intro video. Shout out to Atlantean, or who is Margaret, in honor of the PulseChain ecosystem really doing some numbers over the last few days. Hex is up, Pulse is up, Ink is up, Spark is up, everything has been looking really good. So we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of this AMA. As always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe before we kick things off. And without further ado, let me introduce my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, everybody.
Awesome. So, yeah, I think we're going to jump right in. LA, not a lot going on other than, our typical development schedule. We'll update everybody on all of that. We have a very cool bit of alpha to drop towards the end of the AMA in regards to Splinterlands and lots of headway. I mean, again, I say we don't have a lot going on, but compared to other teams and other protocols, I think that maybe we do. So yeah, LA, how are you? Anything you want to add before we jump in?
No, not particularly, but all is good on my end.
Awesome. So yeah, we're looking good. We'll start with a bit of a market update. We said this all along, but I think we are primed for Uptober instead of October. Typically, I think we're in a bull run right now, but we really start seeing the real bull run kick off usually in October after the halving. So we're right on schedule for that. The rate cuts really helped, I think, give a boost. I think there's probably more rate cuts in the works as well. And we tried to have a little dump last night. I think it was a bit of a squeeze on the shorters because we saw the market start to dump late last night Eastern time, and right away it got bought right back up, and now we're looking at new local highs. So that's a really good sign in terms of what we see. Steadily climbing, and obviously the elections as well I think, once we get a definitive answer on those, one way or the other, that will really help rev up the final rally going into 2025. And I do think that we see an extended cycle this go round where we see great numbers and great volume all the way into 2025, which really is perfect timing for the GrimGold TGE. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end. But we're also ramping everything up for the GrimGold TGE scheduled for mid to late October. We have not announced the official date yet, but obviously, launching that around the Halloween hype is part of our goal, as well as the overall market. I mean, again, by then we should really start seeing uh, a lot of tokens doing incredibly well, even with a tenth of the utility and promise that we have. So that's really exciting for what is to come. So yeah, that's a little bit of an update and recap before we get started. We can jump right into EMP Fusion, but again, LA, anything to add to that?
No, it's just very exciting seeing everything start to move up, and I'm looking forward to the full bull really revving up.
Yeah, me too. Again, I know we talked a little bit on the last AMA. If you've never been in an actual bull run and the height of a bull run, there really is nothing that can compare. And when everybody's high-fiving and buying islands and Lambos and new houses, that's usually a sign of the top. But I think we're really quite far away from that, and we can see a ton of upside until that happens. So, all right, awesome. Then let's go ahead and jump into Fusion. LA, you want to kick things off with that, and then I'll elaborate for sure.
For sure. So obviously every week we've seen more and more EMP being deposited into Fusion, but there's something really exciting today to announce because we have officially had over 1 million more EMP sacrificed into Fusion over the last month since the new battery launched. So very exciting milestone. And if we continue on that trajectory, we will hit our goals very, very soon.
I love
Now
it.
that we've launched the battery and automation around it, we're moving on to a lot of the other items on our development to-do list. So watch out for that. And yeah, AJ, what else did you kind of want to expand on in that section?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm going to pull up the continuous gain strategy as well. I know, like Ellie said, the battery has really had a profound response to the supply. And this is the strategy that we've been recommending. A lot of you, the vast majority of you, have been doing this. And that is why we're sitting now at uh, 1 million more EMP sacrifice into Fusion over the last month or so. And again, that is the goal. Remember, price is obviously important, but the overall sustainability and the overall goal that we need to have as a community is getting as much EMP sacrificed into Fusion as possible to really initiate the supply shock, because that is what will determine a healthy, prolonged price over the long run. So again, I still see comments of people saying that the battery did nothing, EMP is only going down, yada yada yada. But you have to understand that supply shock is what matters, and it has a inverse effect, because as soon as we start getting more buying pressure and more interest with less supply, that will absolutely skyrocket the price and allow us to maintain peg a lot easier with less supply on the market. So, you know, we say it all the time, but it's really about that delayed gratification. This is not an overnight win, and the whole goal is getting as much EMP off the market as possible so that we can see a dramatic, recovery of the entire ecosystem. So, in our eyes, and in terms of the math, which again, the blockchain and the math don't lie, we are right on schedule, if not ahead of schedule, still in terms of the amount of EMP being sacrificed and therefore no longer ever being able to be sold again on the open market. So, really exciting times. Yeah, Ella, anything else do you want to add to that? I mean, we feel like we may be beating a dead horse a little bit, but those that attend the AMAs and really pay attention, I think they understand, that there is a very, very bright light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
Yeah, and remember, just based on the comment that's at the bottom there, EMP isn't getting sacrificed if there's not more being purchased. There's more being purchased every day in order for it to be sacrificed. That's why we've had an additional million EMP sacrifice in the last month. So there is buy pressure, and regardless, PEG is affected by both buy and sell pressure. And so we may not be seeing um, huge climbs on the peg like we'd like to right now. But as AJ just said, the most important thing right now is having as much of the circulating supply as possible within Fusion. And when that supply shock hits, it has the ability to move things extremely quickly because there's so little left on the market. And so that should be our number one priority right now. Implementing this strategy so that we can get as much of the EMP off the market as possible. And so that all of you and us individually can build our microgrids as large as possible before that happens.
Yeah, absolutely, LA. And I'm sure we can go into it a little bit more in the question section. But this is all part of the plan, and there will be different phases. Again, we've said this many times as well. Right now, phase one is about getting all the economic energy, both through the community and through the treasury, to be buying and burning or buying and sacrificing as much EMP as possible. Phase two would be increasing APR and maintaining, well, recovering and maintaining PEG. And then that's when the flywheel really kicks off. And, as a lot of unfortunately, the degenerates or the apes like to ape into things that have high APR, even though there is a lot more to it than that. But the point is that when we get to that point, and there's a lot less EMP available, that's when we really see the fireworks. So we're really laying the groundwork for an exponential recovery rather than just trying to, you know, uh, uh, have a slow and prolonged recovery. Again, it just won't happen overnight. So that's super, super exciting for when it does happen. And furthermore, again, there is buying pressure. I mean, it doesn't look like there is. Over the last few days, we've had some whales of teams exiting at these lower levels, but over time, that becomes less and less of a problem because they're not able to buy their EMP back at a lower price than what they sold it for. And with ETH recovering, that is compounded because although buying and selling pressure is what determines PEG, if there is no buying and selling pressure, but ETH goes up, that will also increase the dollar value of EMP, which again will help stop out the swing traders because again, if they sell and even if there is no more buying pressure, but ETH goes up, then now again, what I said, they can't buy their EMP back for a lower price. So it's all part of the design. And even though we have to deal with dumpers and swing traders in the short term, that is what the fusion has been designed to eliminate in the long term, where we are not beholden to the actions of other users in the ecosystem. And, looking at the on-chain data, again, I don't want to get on my soapbox again, but we do see people selling EMP for other assets that just blow my mind. These assets have only gone down, they're highly speculative, they are, ROI style platforms without any future use case where the inflation is astronomical. Please don't be that person that chases APR because APR doesn't matter when the protocol rugs or has a flash loan or disappears overnight. And no matter how much we try to explain that, I think people still don't get it. And obviously there's if you want to take fresh funds and try to flip those funds into more EMP, then that is definitely acceptable strategy. But to be selling your positions to do that is really, really hurting not only us, but you as the investor. I mean, you know, that's the other beautiful part of Fusion is what is best for us as a protocol is also best for you. You just have to stick to the plan. So, all right, I think again, I don't want to get on my soapbox, but does that help cover where we're at, LA? Again, it's all of us rowing in the same direction, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Cool. All right, so moving on again, if there are questions, please feel free to type them out in the live chat. We'll get to them at the end, or you can join our Discord and type them there. I know a lot of you still been asking about LevelX. I did get an update from one of the developers tonight, literally right before this AMA, and hopefully it will be done in the next few hours. Again, I know we said that on the last AMA, but we are working to get it done. And the moment that it is credited, we will let all of you know through a post. So, all right, and then we've had a lot of talk about Sparkswap and the MegaDex. So I wanted to give some dedicated time to that as well. Ella, you want to talk a little bit about the overall gist, and then again, I'll elaborate.
Yeah, so I just want to kind of explain to you where the questions have lied. So there were some questions popping up on Discord over the weekend, and they were just kind of asking for a little bit more clarification regarding Sparkswap and the MegaDex. And we had mentioned last week that we're adding a BSC DEX, which is going to be part of the Mega DEX. And I think there was a little confusion that SparkSwap was moving to BSC. So if you don't mind just kind of going into clarifying that a little bit and kind of painting a picture of how that all weaves in the best you're able to at this moment.
Yeah, 100%. So again, to LA's point, I think the overall concern was that we're phasing out SparkSwap, and that could not be further from the truth. So we are transitioning into a mega dex, again, the name to be disclosed. There is a fireside chat tomorrow with Jake from Dex Finance. We may be able to drop the name during that. So make sure you guys are joined on their socials as well, so that we can get everybody on the same page. But that being said, this is a cross-chain, mega dex where rather than having a BSC dex named and functioning a certain way, the PulseChain dex named and functioning a certain way, the Manta DEX or Seeder Swap, named and functioning a certain way, we're really spreading not only our development, but also our socials, our community, and it becomes very, very convoluted. So the whole idea is that we're merging all of our independent dexes under one mega dex, and you as the individual the user doesn't really experience anything different. So just like you would go to participate and swap on Cedo or Pulse with SparkSwap, the overall infrastructure doesn't change. So we're by no means getting rid of things. If anything, we'll be able to add more features, and it will just be named something different, and a few of the core elements may function a little different. Again, because we have 404s generating yield on Manta, we have 404s and Sparkler on SparkSwap. Uh, we'll have a DEX token with the BSC DEX. We will essentially merge all of that into one, and then either credit you or give appropriate compensation based on the positions you already have. So it will be a bit of a quote unquote merger, but nobody's being left behind. We're not abandoning any of the, 404s or Sparkler or any of the yield-based strategies within each individual DEX. We're just simply combining everything under one and then having one consolidated economic system with all of them. And everything is still going to operate similarly in terms of, our vision as well, because we will be transitioning into V3. We will be getting rid of the inflation completely. And, as long as you've been building your position in Spark or Sparkler or on Tito, then you will be credited accordingly. So does that help, LA? I don't know if I made it too complicated, but you're good at kind of summing it all up. Yeah.
No, and that works really well. That was a good explanation. And I just wanted to kind of add that it will be a multi-chain DEX. So we are adding BSC, but we'll still have PulseChain and Manta and a number of other chains that we're adding over time after it gets launched. And I just kind of want to give some perspective as to how much more powerful this is, because we found that as we went onto certain chains, like for PulseChain, for example, a lot of these chains have incredible communities, and this MegaDex is going to give us an opportunity to really reach additional communities, really tight knit communities that are passionate about their chain and have exposure to those chains without having to launch an individual project on every chain and really continue to spread ourselves thinner and thinner with our time and our resources. And we can focus all of our time and attention in that regard to one set of socials, to the development of one website. And now that we're working with such an incredible marketing team and we're having a really good experience with them so far, as we progress with Honor versus Madness, this gives us an opportunity to then add some additional work to their plate with EMP and the MegaDex. And it's not like having to hire them for 10 different projects, which would end up getting very expensive. And so if they're working on just one set of socials for the MegaDex instead of Sparkswap and CetoSwap, and then this future BSC DEX and every other DEX that we, every other chain, it would just be too much, and we wouldn't be able to do that. And so we get to have all of the power and the resources and everything behind one set of socials, one website, and we're not having to have developers do UI changes on 5 different sites and that kind of thing. So it's really powerful. It also gives us an opportunity to tap into more liquidity, and there's just so many benefits. So we are working hard to get that done. We're making incredible progress, and we'll definitely continue to update all of you as we get closer.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, this is all part of our vision and our original goal in L1 Dex. And again, because we are not comfortable moving forward with that as it sits now, we're essentially building our own version. And if we can integrate L1X down the road, we will. But this allows us to move forward and be in control of our own destiny and still make good on everything that we set out to, more than a year, almost 2 years now. So, again, that is all part of it. And yeah, everything LA said, there's many benefits, having consolidated UI, having consolidated uh, socials, development wise. So it'll function very similarly on a lot of the big guys, Uniswap or PancakeSwap. Those have multi-chain options now where you just select what chain you want to transact on, and then the functionality is exactly the same. So keep an eye out for that. It will be all V3 as well. And again, without dropping too much alpha, this will be really important in also allowing us to expand our perpetuals platform and our vaults, because with V3 vaults, we're able to actually have more consolidated ranges in LP providing, which ultimately makes things way more efficient and actually increases the amount of fees and yield we can all experience, not just as a platform, but the individual LP providers as well. So everything will be working. We'll still have bridges. Literally nothing as of right now is going away. It's just going to look a bit different and act a little bit different. But the infrastructure will actually be better than what we have at the moment. So, all right, I think that covers a lot with the MegaDex, and yeah, hopefully we can drop a little more alpha tomorrow. I believe that Fireside Chat is in the DexFi Discord at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I know Jake, Dex CEO, will probably spearhead that. I'll be around. I don't think I'm going to be speaking, but I'll be around listening for sure. So, all right. Is that it in terms of Sparkswap, LA?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, and then just overall, like when I played the intro video today, the pulse chain has been looking really good. Again, Hex is up dramatically. There's a lot of chatter of volume coming into PulseChain. Again, if you haven't packed your bags, now would be the time to do so. Not financial advice, but nothing has changed in terms of our view on PulseChain. And, whether you like Richard Hart or not, I think there is this overarching narrative that Richard has to come in and save PulseChain or use sacrifice funds to pump PulseChain, but over the last 2 years, which has really been quite poetic in my eyes, we have moved on and created a successful chain even without Richard. And I think that really speaks volumes to the PulseChain community. And I think over time, as more and more developers do continue to develop on PulseChain, we become less and less reliant on Richard anyway. And obviously, if he does end up pumping, stack funds into Pulse, that's amazing and that's a gravy on top. But regardless, even with the lower volume, even with the, SEC FUD, you know, the chain is still functioning. We're still making fees. We're still providing bridging. Everything is still working. And even along the lines of more L2s, I saw a comparison the other day from your friend Somi, where I think in terms of volume and TVL, PulseChain is on par with Phantom, which again is really bullish in terms of growth. So, all right, what next, LA? On to Honor versus Madness.
Mm-hmm.
All right, again, why don't you give us a lay of the land and then I'll elaborate.
Okay. So we have been full speed. We're not slowing down. We've made amazing progress so far. There will be lots of it coming leading into TGE over the next 4 or 5 weeks and beyond. The marketing company we hired is absolutely killing it. They've already accomplished a ton in a really short time. So really please prepare to get involved when you see our campaigns and giveaways dropping. We'll need all the support we can from all of you. And just a reminder, we are going to be finishing getting a radar set up in both the Honor versus Madness and EMP groups. And so when we do, please make sure to register your Twitter account so that you're able to engage with our posts directly from Telegram. So just a reminder of what that is it's a bot that we are installing in our groups. And basically what it allows you to do is every time we post on Twitter, our posts are going to be automatically posted into our respective Telegram groups. And if you've registered your Twitter account, which honestly, it's so easy, you just message the bot with your handle and it will prompt you with instructions. We'll make a formal pinned post with all the instructions when it's time in the next few days. But underneath each post on Telegram, there will be a heart. And when you hit the heart, it likes the post. There'll be a little circle with two arrows with the retweet symbol, and you'll click that and it'll automatically retweet the post. There will be a little chat bubble and you'll click that, and then you'll type in whatever comment you want to put, or you can put a GIF or an emoji and it'll comment for you. There's another little emoji and it saves it, which it's important to save because it really helps boost the algorithm. And so in literally 2 seconds, you'll be able to engage with every single one of our posts directly from Telegram by just tapping the emojis underneath the post. It's so sick. It's going to help to majorly rev up the engagement on all of our posts, especially as we are massively growing the accounts. And just to let you know, we have our ads starting very soon. Very likely by the end of this week. We have giveaways starting very likely by the end of this week. And so we're going to really be majorly focused on building these accounts. So every single one of you that engages, it will make a massive difference. I know we covered this last week, but when we have ads running and it's sending people to our Twitter or our Telegram or our Discord, and they see people engaging, that is what keeps people around. That is what takes it from, oh, I wonder what that is, to, oh, I want to be a part of that. Because we have an incredible community, one of the best in crypto. And that's how they're going to find out that we do and want to be a part of it.
I love it. Absolutely, LA. And we're doing everything we can to not only, scale in terms of marketing, but also make it as easy as possible for our existing community to, help us in that endeavor. And that's where this new bot comes into play. And so, yeah, everything that we do moving forward will be as simple as we possibly can. We'll have, very specific goals in mind that we can all rally behind. And again, through all of this and massive paid marketing as well, we're hoping to really scale and build that hype was ultimately what we need for a successful TGE and getting people to have a vested interest in the success of Honorverse Madness even before we have any sort of a game ready. And even on that front, we have another meeting tomorrow. We'll hopefully have a lot more game development updates to share as well. I mean, there is never a dull moment. And we have, overall, between YGG, our own dev team, the work that LA and I do on a daily basis, our own Web3 developers through DexFi. I mean, there's probably upwards of 100 people working on our, related ecosystems. So again, we just have to get there. I know it doesn't really reflect that in terms of price, but we're building incredible, infrastructure for the future, and honestly, very healthy economics and roadmaps and rollouts. I mean, 2025 will be massive in all that we do. So, all right, awesome. All right, and then anything else in terms of HVM before one more little bit of a cool highlight, and then we'll get into questions.
Yeah, no, I think that's it for HBM.
All right, awesome. So one more bit of reminiscing, I guess, is our Splinterlands card is now available. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Give me 1 second here. All right, there he is. So this is Elias Max Pruitt, or EMP. That is the first bit of Easter egg. We'll go over a few other Easter eggs as we go here. But I'm deeply honored to have our own card in Splinterlands. This is a game that I started my crypto journey with and ultimately spearheaded my success in crypto. And it's not just a personal achievement, but a powerful way to immortalize both myself and the entire EMP community. Being able to represent our collective journey and passion with such a popular and dynamic game is truly humbling. So again, I consider Splinterlands to be the OG. Obviously, we're learning a lot and taking a lot from Splinterlands in Honorverse Madness. But at the end of the day, we also want to have a presence in Splinterlands. I'm still one of the major holders. Our other team member from HVM, Simon, he's another incredibly large whale in Splinterlands, and this has been something that I've always wanted to do over the last, my God, like what, 6 years? Splinterlands has been around again, previously known as Steam Monsters. I think 2018 is when they started, so crazy to think about that. But some really cool Easter eggs, obviously. One of the first and only, other than maybe Professor X or some others, disabled character, which is cool. So definitely some Professor X vibes. He is powered by a fusion core, and the EMP Fusion logo is also in the back of that generator there. Like I said, his name is EMP, Elias Max Pruitt, and Elias is also the middle name of Walt Disney. So there's another little Easter egg as well. And there's a few others that will open up to the community. If any of you have some other Easter eggs that you realize through the lore, there's a full backstory. I don't want to take the time to read it all, but feel free to type it in the live chat, and I may do a giveaway. So, but yeah, here he is. So make sure you guys go grab one if you're still playing Splinterlands, and he has been very competitive in the meta of the game as well. So that's really cool. But like LA said in the last AMA, we're all big believers of non-victim mentality, utilizing the cards in life that you're dealt to be successful, and the lore of EMP is very, very similar to all that. So it all has come full circle for sure. So, all right, that will wrap up the official notes for today. But LA, anything you want to add? And then obviously we'll jump into some questions.
I love that card. It's so badass, and it's so you. So an
For
EMP.
sure.
Yeah, I think that's it. We've got a bunch of questions though.
All right, awesome. So let me go ahead and exit out here. Um, Go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right, I will start with Discord because there's a couple on here. Um, okay, so could you please go over again why getting to peg matters in Fusion? I understand why in the Tomb model it did, but I haven't grasped the importance in Fusion.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of reasons why PEG still matters. I mean, number one is really honoring the investment of all previous contributors. So if we just said, all right, well, PEG, we're gonna change PEG, or we're gonna get rid of PEG, that could be very detrimental to those that bought EMP at PEG value, and really creates even more, a scenario of moving the goalposts from what we had originally said we would do. And in terms of our integrity, that has been really important. That we just don't want to change the rules, you know, when times get tough. We want to try to, make right on everything that we said we would from day one. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, it's also really important that we maintain exposure to Ethereum through EMP. So again, we talk a lot about liquidity bonding, and having our main LP pair be EMP ETH, that is still really important, and we want to even increase that exposure through recovering PEG. And so again, that is another part of what we set out to do, and keeping in, the actual storyline of EMP being fractionalized Ethereum. So those are the two big things, and why we didn't just change the rules, or the goalposts, or alter the peg ratio. And really, it also is about forced price appreciation through Fusion itself. So by having that peg maintained, and then us having to recover peg, and more importantly, the peg ratio being directly tied to your peg bonus, that mechanism is what will drive us back to peg. Again, not if, but when. And, those that are buying EMP and sacrificing it are getting a massive bonus to get us to peg. So, those are a lot of the key things. Now, when we do recover peg, and when all the EMP is now sacrificed into Fusion, then yes, I mean, peg becomes a lot less important. We will still have that ratio, but really at that point we can reduce the POL, or protocol owned liquidity, and put that right into generating more yield or rewards. And that's why I keep saying this is a multi-stage process. So right now it's about maintaining the peg in any way that we can, eventually recovering peg completely, then again maintaining peg in the long run through the peg stabilization bot. Then we put all of our resources into APR and rewards, and continuing to buy EMP off the market, even as a treasury, and sacrifice that, or flat out burn it. And then the ultimate phase three end goal of the whole protocol is that there is no more EMP left. The only way to get into EMP is by buying somebody else's microgrid, and then we can literally just drive all of the revenue streams into rewards 100%, through both, Eshare and energy rewards. And that will just be a very happy day, where we're essentially a private investment group, just earning every single day from real yield. So hopefully that gives you the full circle of life in terms of how EMP will work.
And then let's not forget about the amazing marketing opportunity. We are one of very few um, protocols who will ever have gotten back to peg after losing it. And so most of the other DeFi protocols fell and crumbled around us throughout the bear market, most of them in that first year. And we've stood tall for nearly 3 years now. And most of that has been in the bear market. And while our peg may not be super high right now, we are on our way back. And it's going to be an incredible story that we will then use for our second wave of marketing to really, really launch us into the stratosphere.
Yeah, 100%, LA. And again, you know, the whole goal is that we're all here to make money, and even though sometimes we get the fudsters that don't think that that is what's on our mind, obviously, crypto and decentralized finance and generating yield, in a sustainable manner, all of that is at the front of our mind. It's just we do things in a very different way, and a much more conservative and sustainable approach. And so obviously the end goal is that we all want to, have incredible APR, and healthy token price, and eShare going up in price, stair stepping up what we hope is indefinitely. I mean, there are so many things that we want to accomplish, and we will, but again, we have to lay the groundwork first. And remember, even though EMP's been around for 3 years now, or going on 3 years, Fusion is still only a couple of months old, and Fusion was a complete, rewrite, so to speak, of how the entire protocol works. So I don't, even though some fudsters say, well, it's only been down since Fusion launched, that is a really small portion of the overall journey that we've had. And, another 6 months in Fusion could be dramatically different, especially on the trajectory that we're on. So, again, please just keep all of that in perspective, and look at the launch of Fusion as, again, the relaunch of the protocol, essentially, in a much healthier way.
Absolutely. All right, we've got another one over on Discord. Will there be a UI sneak peek of this MegaDex, and how complete is the dex so far? There's 3 questions, so I'll let you answer that part first.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So, yes, I mean, we're in the midst of testing now. All the back-end development is pretty much done. We've said many times that our bottleneck in terms of development is usually the front-end work. So, in terms of the UI and, a sneak peek of what the decks will look like, we should be able to have that shortly. Again, we're talking and I don't want to give timelines, but I'm very confident that we'll have the decks up and running before the end of the year for sure. So we're in the home stretch, and ultimately, yeah, I mean, the other fringe benefit, which is something we talked about in the socials this week, getting our liquidity over to the new decks will also really help prevent a lot of the front running bots as well. So even now, there's massive front running on EMP and Eshare with PancakeSwap. That's why we've said all along, make sure that your slippage is low, and that you're buying in small increments at a time to avoid getting front run. But once we have our own DEX up on BSC, and the majority of POL is there, because of our MEV bot protection, we that will no longer be an issue moving forward. So that's another fringe benefit of having a BSC MegaDex under the umbrella as well.
Absolutely. All right, let's see. I know we have. The second question by this person was, will that also include liquidity added to eShare?
Yeah, so the whole goal with eShare is that we continually and gradually increase the liquidity as well. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. I would say the determining factor on that is just again the health of the ecosystem. So as we start recovering PEG more, EMP is getting healthier, then we can divert some of that momentum into building LP on eShare. But for now, again, liquidity is a very double-edged sword. We've talked about this many times. I mean, massive liquidity is great, but uh, a lot of the times it can hurt price appreciation. And as long as we have enough liquidity to transact in the M energy and regular energy transactions, that's really all that matters. So, and again, if you've been utilizing your eShare to buy M energy and maybe hold some of your eShare, then liquidity really isn't, liquidity is still attractive, in terms of overall numbers. So, you know, usually when people are asking if we're gonna increase the liquidity on eShare is and I'm not accusing this person by any means, but remember that the more liquidity we have, that also can go the other way where, a major whale can dump and take all of that liquidity as well. So just again, it's a double-edged sword, and we're very aware of continually building LP in a very safe way.
Absolutely. All right. Have you thought about putting in the roadmap an option to take the Fusion framework to other companies and make more money renting out the tech to them?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the way Fusion actually works, that part is not necessarily, you know, proprietary or revolutionary. What is revolutionary is the infrastructure that we have built around Fusion with multiple revenue streams, with other protocols under our umbrella generating real yield, and that is what really no other protocol can duplicate. So when we say, you know, Fusion is revolutionary and, Fusion is the future, that is because nobody can copy what we're doing, even if they had the code for Fusion, because it ultimately relies on the real revenue. And to my knowledge, there are no other, DeFi protocols that have bridges and dexes and vaults and real infrastructure generating real yield every single minute of every single day that is then shared with the token holders, in our case, Fusion. So, I mean, that is what sets us apart. And because of that, it would be very difficult for us to sell the, software to other protocols unless they have that infrastructure in place. And at that point, we really probably wouldn't do that because we, would want to be the one and only in terms of market share. So, yeah, it's very different than software as a service, like we did with DOS. This is a lot more, uh, 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 you know, a lot more future proof than just trying to gain some income by selling it to somebody else. Does that make sense, LA? I don't know. Again, I don't. Sometimes I
Totally.
overcomplicate things, but yeah.
No, totally. Next, will there be farming on the new decks?
Yeah, so again, with the DEX and LP providing, it functions very differently. So, typically when you farm a token, you're rewarded for providing LP in a token. Well, with V3 farming, you're actually getting part of the fees for providing the LP. So, in terms of like traditional MasterChef farming, the answer is probably no. However, you could actually make more through providing LP in V3 because you're getting a percentage, a much larger percentage of the actual fees that your LP position uh, generates. And on top of that, there are ways that we can boost rewards by giving some native tokens as a quote unquote farm um, as well. So again, to give an example, USDT, USDC, LP providing, you may be getting 5% APR on that, but then we would supplement, another 5% APR or more by giving away the DEX token to those LP providers that stake their LP in a farm, so to speak. So PancakeSwap does something really similar to this. If you want a little more info on what I'm saying, but even though we would reward the DEX token to boost APR, in certain cases, it's not, still non-inflationary. So that those tokens that we reward are either bought back from protocol revenue and then distributed, or they're part of our, initial token distribution for incentives. But either way, they're non-inflationary.
Awesome. That is all the questions that I see. Do you see any others?
No, I think that really covers it. I know there was a question about speed. I mean, yes, obviously we will do everything we can to make the DEX as fast as possible. A lot of times that boils down to, either a VPN or an internet issue, or the chain itself. So again, another reason why all of you should be using Rabby. Rabby has been just so much faster than MetaMask, but be very careful when transitioning into that for sure.
A big reminder to make sure you've liked this stream, and if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn your notifications on so you never miss one of these AMAs.
Yeah, totally. And again, I mean, the another little question slash comment, is about DCing in. Obviously, we've been fighting against ETH as well. I mean, back to my earlier conversation, you know, EMP and Eshare have definitely struggled because of the performance of ETH. I mean, if you look at the charts, other than the last like 5 days, ETH has done nothing but gone down and to the right since we launched Fusion. So there are some existential circumstances that have hurt us. But the real metric, which again we keep saying, is how much EMP is actually sacrificed into Fusion. And as long as that number continues to go up, then, the supply shock is inevitable and the recovery is literally based on math, not based on, what LA or I say on an AMA. And that is the real end goal for sure. So, all right, awesome. Yeah, I think we covered it all, LA. Any
Yeah.
any final words or any words of wisdom for the week?
I'm excited to start creating some new content for you guys in the next few weeks. I am heading home this week, so I'll be back to my full usual self in the chats here, and creating lots of new content around Fusion, and we're going to continue ramping things up with the marketing company. Just so much great stuff ahead. So thank you guys for being here and for being along for the ride, and lots to look forward to.
Yeah, 100%. Again, we are working frantically behind the scenes to make sure we are well prepared and have a big impact for TGE alongside of all the other responsibilities that we have, and everything is on track. So we may have to move around some AMAs, maybe one, possibly two, the beginning of October. But we'll be around and on schedule for literally every AMA for the next month and a half. Other than that, to really ensure that we're communicating with all of you well, we have some surprises in store. On top of that, we are looking into some really cool things with HVM that we may be able to implement even before TGE. So keep an eye out on that. Some again. Last minute alpha for all of you that stick around to the very end. So we'll update you on that. And yeah, I mean, the bottom line is we're all positioned incredibly well for what is about to come. We just have to stay the course. Don't get, shaken out. Don't get fudded out from, fudsters. And remember that as long as you never invest more than you can afford, then it really takes the pressure off holding and really being in it for the long run. So I think, again, all of that is going to become a reality much sooner than later. So, all right. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern for our AMAs. This is the best way to keep in touch. And please make sure to spread our AMAs with some people that may be new to EMP or any of our franchises. And this is an amazing way to introduce them to our protocols. And above all, make sure that you listen to some old AMAs as well. There's a lot of great information, and it's why we do this religiously. So, all right, good night, good day. Much love to all of you. Have a great week, and we will see you on Thursday.